This is happening at the White House this weekend, and that is the UFC fight that's going to be on the South Lawn. And the construction of that, we've seen that already.
Yep.
But there are several people that don't want this to happen, and they have a federal lawsuit seeking to halt that upcoming fight, a mixed martial arts show,
Yep.
time for President Trump's 80th birthday and part of the 250th celebration. So let's talk about the filing and why they say the filing of this is not what they're filing, they're challenging in court.
Yeah, I think I mean, you said that this is supposed to happen this weekend, and if these 2 get their way, it won't happen this weekend. Unfortunately, I looked at the things that they're alleging with their complaint, their attempt to get some preliminary injunction to stop this from taking place. You wanna look at a couple things, and I'll start with the beginning. An injunction, where it's an extraordinary relief. The courts don't want to grant injunctions unless something extraordinary is happening. And so there are 4 factors, and I've said it a number of times in the past. It's likelihood of success on the marriage, irreparable harm, balancing of the equities, and this public policy. The court will examine those 4 factors, and they'll determine if I should grant an injunction. Um, so that's the first step. Part of their complaint, they talk about there's procedural missteps and a violation of the procedural process with allowing this to happen. And the last thing they mentioned in their complaint is that President Trump has financial connections to UFC's parent company. And because of that, there are a number of procedural steps that were overlooked and should not have taken place with him having connection to it. So looking at their complaint, I think the injunction standard will not be met. I think their procedural process is going to be cut at its legs because the federal government, specifically the Trump administration, has discretion to use the White House in the manner in which they deem fit. I mean, you have Easter egg hunts on the White House lawn. You have a number of other things that can take place there. So if you're talking about them having the authority to do that, they can. If you're saying now demolition and tearing things down, I mean, kind of like the ballroom, that's a whole nother story, right? For a different day. Not what they're doing here. This is not something that's permanent. This isn't something that needed congressional authority or approval to do. This isn't something that even needed funding from Congress to do. This is something that I think would fall within their decision-making process as the custodians of the White House right now.
Yeah, and it doesn't this is not something you would normally see at the White House, but yes, the UFC, the president is a big UFC fan, and has been associated in the past with UFC events. That filing, over the weekend, it was by the Integrity Project. It was on behalf of 2 Virginia residents, that contend the Trump administration's authorization of the June 14th was unlawful.
Yep.
Lawsuit says such approval, violated the National Park Service regulations prohibiting sporting events on federal park lands. Congress did not to consent this towering arch that you can see here, or the event
The
space.
claw, that's
The
what that is.
claw, okay.
But the
you
claw's
know,
not permanent, right? And so,
okay.
well, yeah, why Congress would have to do something approving it if it was a permanent structure, but because it's temporary, it's like a stage. It's something that they could do, and they've done in the past, in DC. Anytime there's a transfer of power, there will be a stage that will be built for the presidents to, to have their swearing in. There will be a number of events that will take place in locations on federal property that will not need congressional approval. I think the stronger part of their argument is President Trump's financial connection to UFC's parent company. If that's shown to be there and there were procedural missteps in the approval of this process, I think that may be the only way that a court may be inclined to granting some type of injunction. But save for that, they're saying that they have been aesthetic in procedural violations. I don't think that they can point to any that will be successful. This is one where uh, they filed their complaint, the other side files their response. They also file and tucked into that response a motion to dismiss. That motion to dismiss probably 90% granted. I mean, to me, this is a very clean, cut and dry request from the defense to dismiss, and I think the court will grant that motion to dismiss.
Wow, okay. So, you think this is gonna go on Saturday night?
Oh, I
Yeah.
I I mean, unless there is
Quite the spectacle for sure.
unless they're
Yeah.
able to uncover that the Trump administration and President Trump himself has like a 50% stake in the company and that he expects to use, private dollars, I'm sorry, public dollars to benefit himself publicly. But with UFC saying they're operating this at a loss, right? There are a number of things that they're saying they're not, making money from this.
5,000-seat arena, a lot of those are going to military service members. That's a question unto itself right there at how that's being done, but 85,000 free tickets are gonna be offered to people that can watch from the ellipse where there's gonna be, set up, around the White House where they can watch on these giant screen TVs as well.
Yeah, I think again, if you're looking at what happens in the court, this is something where the court is going to be, have you met the standard for an injunction, that extraordinary relief? I mean, money can't fix the procedural violation. So I agree that this is something that irreparable harm standard is there. But the court has to also say, are you likely to be successful on this when it goes to court, to trial? The likelihood of success in the marriage, I think they have a extremely low chance of being successful because their arguments are procedural and the procedure has to go through the White House, i.e. the people that are determining that they're going to have this event on the lawn. So I think the court would say, well, you may have money can't fix the fact that we violated what you believe is a violation of the procedural rights. And then the other thing is, I'll close with this, standing. Like, do you have standing to bring this claim? And I don't know if the court would even entertain that these two individuals have standing to bring a claim against them for this as well.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.